What's going on? Welcome back to No Impulse Control. I am Justin,
And I'm Jasmine.
and we are here, and we
We
stand for
are.
mental health. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're standing for mental health. Well, I'm sitting and you're sitting, but we're talking about it, and half the battle is talking about it. But anyways, before we get to that, how have you been, Jasmine? How was your day? How was your week? How was your month? How's it going?
It's okay. On the date of recording, I'm okay. I'm not great, but I'm okay. It's just a 2 hour delay that we had today on the day of recording kind of threw me off,
Mm,
and then the rest of my day was putting out fires. Hey, I recognize that cup. Um, Putting out fires that shouldn't have been started, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yep.
And I feel like that happens so much more frequently in the winter time
Yeah.
because so many things pop up that you can't control, like weather,
Yeah.
or like it's 50 degrees outside. We should have been able to go outside for recess, and we couldn't because it was still icy and they hadn't
Right.
sanded or shoveled.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So really what you're saying is like today is the perfect day to talk a little bit about mental health.
dude, this is the best day. How are you
With
doing? How
all
was
of the
your week?
enthusiasm.
Yeah, I know, right? How's your week been? How's your month? How's your year going?
Oh, I'm here. I'm living life like Larry. Just doing my thing. Um no, I it's been okay. I mean, like I think I like I said, or like you said, and I reiterate, I think this is the perfect time to talk about winter mental health because this is truly in the state of Maine. This is truly when it matters most. Like it's an important
Yeah.
topic because a lot of us, including you and I, struggle with it, and like we need the sun to survive, and we don't always get
Mhm.
it. So I think this is a
Mhm.
good time
Mhm.
to have this talk and this
Yeah.
topic be up and I just really like I'm gonna put this out there now before we really dive into it. But if you are struggling with mental health, like reach out. You can reach out to either of us. You can reach out to people that you trust, but reach out because I'm sure you're not the only one struggling with it. And I know that there's helplines as well that will also that are also available for people that are struggling with it. So
The hotline number will also be in the description of this episode, for the different types of hotlines, just
yeah.
for accessibility.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're struggling, reach out. But yeah, let's get into this. This is we
It's
don't
a heavy
usually.
topic.
I was gonna say we don't tackle heavy topics like this. We're usually pretty light, but
I'd like to think snow days was a heavy topic,
oh yeah, snow
but
days was a heavy topic. um,
Mm.
so really, my main thought with this is just like you're the one that knows more about this. If I'm being honest, no.
So I know more from experience
Mm,
and like the few classes that I've taken, but I want to be very move my mic. I want to be very clear. I am not a health professional.
yeah.
It's important to me that I state that because I have my own thoughts and feelings on why the things in my brain are happening that are related to just whatever,
Right.
and things that I've heard that I've picked up and whatnot. But um I don't want people to hear something and say, "Oh my gosh, I have this XYZ thing because I meet this one niche example that
Yeah.
was given."
Yeah.
And then like quote us as healthcare professionals. You're closest to a healthcare
I was gonna
professional.
say, and like I yes, I have I've got a degree in community health, but I'm not like
Different health kind
yeah,
of.
it's not the mental health side of it. I think honestly, I
Hmm.
think this specific episode might just be us talking about our experiences. So
Hmm.
like if you can relate, then that's awesome. But don't quote us as being the mental health professionals that
Right.
are out there and definitely are much more
You
capable
should
of doing this
seek
job.
if you're feeling
Yeah,
like you need
yeah,
that person. Yeah.
exactly. Um,
But in the meantime, while you're waiting for those copays to go through, glad you're here with us.
yeah,
Jokes on you for therapy. They're not going to go through. Um,
for some, I mean, for some
you got
insurance, they
this.
don't go through. For others, they might.
Yeah, they just take forever,
Yeah, it
which is wild to me that
so
therapy
dumb.
is the one that takes forever.
It's so dumb.
But yeah, so do you want to start us off? Tell us about your sadness.
I guess I'll start. I do cycles. My my mental health during wintertime specifically, I have the seasonal depression type. I've never been diagnosed
Haha,
for anything like
sad.
that. I've never been
Seasonal
diagnosed
depression. Yeah.
for anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely have like my spells. To be fair, I've never been diagnosed with much, so there's that. But
Well,
um,
it takes going to a doctor, but
I am
it is
going
what it
to a
is.
doctor now. um,
Okay.
I do. I don't have many times that I can like pinpoint. I mean, my main time that I remember actually was my first year of college. That was probably the darkest time of my life, and I'm not saying like I've had a lot of times where it was low or high, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
time specifically in my life, it was just like between the current situation that I was in, or the
Mm-hmm.
situation that I was in at that time, and then also it being wintertime and how that already affects me in a more negative way. I think that kind of drove me to where I got to, which was not a good place. I was very unhappy with everything about
Yeah.
myself. So, and that wasn't all on winter, but I'm sure if it
Mm-hmm.
was middle of summer, I wouldn't have had that deep of a
It would have been different,
yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been
for sure.
as deep of an impression or a depression that I had. But yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine was, I mean, so I have struggled with mental health stuff since I was young. And I can't pinpoint when it started because a lot of memories from before we moved here. Like I have blips, right? Like where I memorize. Honestly, in summer, I can memorize a lot more because my serotonin's up, my dopamine's up,
Yeah.
all those, the buzzwords are up. Um, but when it says dark and dreary wintertime, my brain goes a little bit more into lizard mode.
Hmm.
Um, and it's in that baseline function, right? Like I have to breathe, so my body is naturally breathing. I have to sleep, so it sometimes naturally sleeps and whatever. Memory is not one of the basic functions for me. Um, we were actually just talking before the episode about cooking dinner. I had been cooking right before we started, and I just was like, taking too long, and I gave up. And that's a big thing, like for me in winter. But yeah, the memory thing is bad in the winter months. But for the mental health part, I don't know when it started. Um, if my mom or sister are listening and you remember, let me know. I know you guys, have great memories along with me. Together, the three of us could probably remember a full detail. But I know when I moved into my freshman dorm, I was elated. I was super excited to like finally be on my own and all this stuff, right? Like it's so
Yeah.
cool, right? Like you move out from your parents' house, you're really excited you got accepted to college, and that first 3 months was great.
Hmm.
And we were in Farmington, which is wet and cold and snowy for a lot of the time. And I was taking some classes that I shouldn't have been taking because of some advisor stuff. And my best friend at the time, and I, not you, um, a different person that I was friends with, and I kind of had a little bit of a falling out, and I got a little impulsive and moved out and moved in with a nightmare. Do you remember? I
I
think you
remember.
remember me talking about
Yeah,
my
I
nightmare
do.
roommate. Yeah, I had probably the worst semester of my entire life. I had a lot of really scary moments in that room for my mental health part, and it was in the middle of winter that I moved in. she used to like right before we go to bed, she used to tell me about how she could smother me in my sleep. And like it would only take 30 seconds to kill me with a pillow and then just be like, good night. And I'm like, that's scary. Um, but on top of that, I had some really just like horrifying classes. And I was at such a low that I almost dropped out of school. You've met me, you know how much I enjoy
Hmm.
school. Like, I love going to college, I enjoy being a
Yeah.
student. I almost dropped out of school. It was the semester that I started being a little more impulsive with my decision making. Um, right before that was when I started looking into my diagnosis for ADHD and a couple of other, behavioral stuff because of just some impulsivity. But like, I would get up in the middle of the night because I couldn't stay my roommate and I just drive to New Hampshire at like 2 in the
Yeah.
morning just because I needed to escape. And it's gotten a lot better. But winter is still it's a hard
Yeah.
time. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it's just, there's something in me that shuts off in winter and I'm not able to produce any of the happy chemicals that I
Right.
need to regulate
Yep.
myself.
Yeah, I know that. I get
So,
that. And I definitely agree with it. All like everything that you said, I vaguely remember like whether it was you telling me about it or me seeing it
mhm,
myself. I can pinpoint those moments in your college career and in my life as, as a friend of yours. Um
mhm.
I do I think that winter is so difficult, and those that might listen in, like, states that are not in Maine or northern half of, the United States.
Just Maine. No
No other
other, no
states,
other
yeah,
state.
no.
Just Maine.
But those that, like, listen in states like that, I don't know that they really understand the effect that when you get out of school, like, when you get out of school from, the 3 o'clock on and it's pitch black, like, that's kind of
Hmm.
depressing. Like, you go to school in the dark, you wake up, it's dark, you go to school, oh, it becomes a little light, but you're trapped inside, or you go to work and you can't get out. Well, then you try to get out, or you are getting out of school and or work, and it's still dark.
Hey, I have a question
Yeah.
for you. Do you know that the other states that don't get snow and cold also have daylight savings and are
I
dark
do,
at
I
this
do,
time?
I do, I do. But, like, they
Okay.
have,
I
like
just wanted to make
they have
sure.
heat, and it's
It's
just a
different.
different, yeah, it's a different vibe. Because like I was getting to, it's not just that it's dark, it's cold as all get out. Like, you don't wanna go outside because it's cold,
Hmm.
but you don't wanna be inside all
Your
day.
whole body is like, please don't bring me out
Right. So,
there.
like, it really is one of
Yeah.
those, like, situations where you're between a rock and a hard place. Do you stay inside and not do anything and
Hmm.
see your mental health decrease? Or do you go
Yeah.
out, try to take on the weather or the, atmosphere that you are in just to try to get a little bit
And
of
see your
fun?
mental health
And also see
decrease.
your health decrease because you're,
Yeah.
having to push yourself through these kind of situations. So really, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about snow days and we talked about like things that we had done or that could be fun during snow,
Hmm.
which is still a possibility for sure. But it's not like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just different as an adult.
It's different when yeah. I will say too, winter has a lot of holidays, right? So
Mm,
we've got Halloween. I mean, in a lot of states they get cold. Even if it's not snowing, it's still
yeah, yeah,
cold for October. So you've got Halloween, and then you have Thanksgiving if you celebrate. You've got Hanukkah, you've got Kwanzaa, you've got Christmas, you've got Yule, like whatever you
right.
celebrate, right? That no October through it's like through February. There are so many holidays or just days that people celebrate, and not on top of birthdays and anniversaries and then New Year's and whatever. Like, it's so many social
Yeah,
situations that you are, I don't want to say forced into because it's good, right? Like, this social interaction is good, but in a way you're forced into it because if you don't go to the Christmas party that grandmama is
right.
throwing, then you're a Grinch. And I know we both were visiting grandparents that are, they're getting up there, and I know this year was a hard Christmas
Yeah,
for you. Um, and if you don't go to those Christmases and then, something big does happen, then it's like, well, that's, I missed a big opportunity, or, you go and or you don't go to, the family Thanksgiving and the new baby is there for the first time and you'll never,
Right.
whatever. It's just these situations that make you feel guilty. So that's already tapping into that part of your brain that's saying that you're not
Right.
good enough. And then it's cold, you're not getting any vitamin D, which is very important for your
Super important.
body. I won't follow that rule, but it's very
Hmm.
important for your body. But you're cold, so you're wanting to stay inside. Nobody wants to be
Right.
cold. Your basic human instinct says be warm. You're not able to be outside for as long, so you're missing out on all those benefits. And oftentimes things are getting canceled because of
Yeah.
weather, so you're missing out on, those opportunities. And then on top of all that, you have to go see, your family, which is lovely, but it can be
Hmm.
taxing. It can be socially
Yeah.
draining.
That's the point I was about to bring up was
Like,
that I I
oh my
live with
god,
a
it's
very
so
much
much.
introverted person. I am more extroverted than introverted, but I still do have like those moments where I'm like, I would much rather be home by myself or my wife and I than be, out in a group of people. And
Then be
yeah,
oot
oot
naboo.
naboo. But I know that there
Oot naboo.
are like I know I force Darcy into situations that are more social, but I'm always checking on her. I'm always making sure that she
Hmm.
is socially available and not drained from having too many experiences. And that's an important
Right,
aspect
right.
too, is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that actually
Hmm. And
it
it's
is it's
hard.
such a hard thing to do, because we're taught to kind of care for others, and that's kind of for most people
Hmm.
that's their goal, that's their want, is to care for other people. But
Right.
for yourself, you should take care of yourself. So that leads me to my next question for you is, what are some things that you do to try to take care of yourself during winter?
So that's a really, like, it's a twofold question because I want to self care in the way that I
Hmm.
self care, which is I go for drives and I listen to music with the windows down, sunglasses on. Like that's a thing of mine that is
Yeah.
self-care. And it's not great for my car or gas mileage or whatever, but it makes me feel
Hmm.
better. And I feel like I have a sense of control of my situation. Can't always do that in the winter, especially when I feel like I most want to
Yeah.
escape. It's when it's like the worst weather, you know what I mean? And I'm not driving to New Hampshire in a blizzard right now, although I am a lot closer. But one of the big ones that I do is cooking. Um, and this is something that I've been working on with my husband, with Connor. For myself, is I don't always have to make the most extravagant
Hmm.
meal. Sometimes it can just be food to feed
Yep.
my body. But when it's just food to feed my body, I no longer have like an interest in it and it feels like a chore. So even if it's a bacon, I mean, you've been at my house when I make my food. Hold on, back it up. My
The foo-foo.
food. But when you guys were here recently, you saw me make that like whole big thing with the eggs and the garlic
Yeah.
and the onions and the whole shebang. That's my form of self-care to myself. Is it was a basic meal. It was onions and
Yeah.
dumplings, I think. It was like, or that sounds so gross when I say it like that, but
You
it
had
was just
bacon.
like breakfast. I had bacon. There we go. Bacon and eggs. But I spiced it up and I made it different so that I felt like I was accomplishing
Yeah.
something, which is also unhealthy. So it's that twofold of like it's a self-care for me, but it's also an unhealthy trait of feeling like I have to accomplish something in order to be able to eat
Okay.
my
Yeah. Yeah.
dinner. So it's hard. I don't get this way in the summer as much either because there are things you can eat in the summer that you cannot find in the winter. Like, I don't know, picking up a juicy watermelon in July is great. Like I could go to Hannaford's and go get one and we could flat destroy a
We have.
watermelon, the two of us. Um yeah, look,
The
move
couch
past it.
was
But
soaked,
we
but we have.
that's a good memory. But like in December, I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
buy a
No.
watermelon. You know what I mean? So it's easier in the summer to pick up those foods that I like, and in the winter, it's hearty foods, which
Yeah.
take forever. Soup for summer, it's just water and veggies in hot, but it
Yeah.
takes forever. So anyway, that's um my biggest self care is the cooking, and then the other one that I have is making time to be with my husband. even if we're not doing the same thing, he games
Hmm.
a lot. He plays a lot of Rocket League, which I'm sorry to any listener out there whose husband has been taken by Rocket League or partner. I don't, it doesn't matter who. My thoughts are with you in this trying time because he's spending like people money
Mm,
on this game. Like real, not in game money, people money. But anyway, I go and curl up on the couch with him while he's playing. I put my headphones on. I listen to my own thing, but like I'm
yeah.
present with him. And that's a big self care for me is just being with people because this,
Hmm.
I isolate. When I'm not feeling good or I am really anxious or going through one of my spells, I isolate and I pull away
Yeah.
from the group. Like how animals sometimes when they're wounded will just wander into the woods and just
Yeah.
like that's where they go. Very similar to the wounded animal arc. So that's my self
Yeah, I
care.
mean,
But
I'm
what about you?
similar in the sense of I like to be with people. Like for me, I feed off of other
Mm-hmm.
people's energy. It's a weird like I kind of almost steal energy. Not like I'm taking it away from people, but like I I I get your vibe, I get your aura, and I'm like, all right, I can feed off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like part of me does that. So seeing people helpful for me, hence why being a teacher in the middle of winter is not always a terrible thing, depending on
Yeah, it's
who the
kind of
students
nice.
are, um,
Or
or
which
which
holiday
holiday we're
you're
nearest. Yeah.
nearest.
Um, but I also one thing that I do, and I've noticed it more, and it's not like you said, it's a twofold thing. I like to game a lot more in the wintertime, and part of that is out of not necessity but like restriction. I can't go outside, I can't do anything like work on the house or anything like that, so I'm gonna just game. And it's something I enjoy, it's something that I like doing, and I do it with a bunch of people, and it's just a good relaxer for me, especially if it's a day that like it was a tough day and my mental health needs that break. It's a good mental health relief. um, I think another thing that I like to try to do when I'm looking to get a little bit of serotonin in my body in the middle of winter is when I I do things that are a little more expensive, particularly tattoos. Those are my go-to, or I like to go
Oh my god. Me
or I
too.
like to go and do like, eat out or like buy pop figures or
Yeah.
stuff like that. Spending money unfortunately gives out a little bit of a serotonin kick, especially if you're buying things that you like.
Yeah,
We're not talking about how many.
I have receipts from this weekend. Yeah, well, oh my god. Um, so from this past weekend that Justin and his wife Darcy came to visit me, we went out to eat. He got a tattoo, two tattoos, and we went and bought pops. I have like picture proof of these things happening. It's just funny to
All
me that
three
you
of them,
brought up
yeah.
all three of those as your like go to things, and I'm like, we just did
I
all three of
do.
those.
I
Do you feel
actually like
better?
it. That's something like the
Good.
weekend before we were planning on hanging out, and then something happened, we couldn't or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
remember
I
what
think it was just
happened.
so last minute that we didn't.
Oh, we were
Oh yes,
sick.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We were sick, and we didn't
Yeah.
want to give you
So
our
we
ick.
weren't able to, and that like bummed me out. Legitimately bummed me out. I was zapped of
Mm-hmm.
my energy, and then when I came back on Sunday or Monday, whatever it was, like I felt more rejuvenated. So it's just kind of one of
Mm-hmm.
those things that it's a little extra boost for whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm intrigued and interested to see what else other people do. So I want you guys to put in the comments
Yeah,
or in the suggestion section on Spotify, what do you do? Or email
or
us at
email us.
the soccer king 1239 at gmail.com. Um, you could
DM
DM
us
us. You
if you really
have,
want
I
to.
mean, we've said it enough, but where can they find our socials? Well, they can look up a bunch of different things. We'll get to that point,
Yeah.
but like I want you to tell us what you guys do, to relieve some of that, like, or to gain some of that positive energy, dopamine,
Dopamine.
serotonin, all of that.
Little
Little,
little
little,
dopamine hit.
little trigger, little good trigger.
Do you know what I've noticed too in winter that I don't
What?
do as much in the summer? And this is just I mean, personality wise. But in the summertime, like, when you drink in the summer, it's like a beer by the fire. Like when I go to your house for a fire, we have like a
Right.
mics out by the fire while we play. Well, one of us plays cornhole and the other one doesn't play very well.
You
One
mean
of us
grunt?
tries cornhole.
We've
No,
done
we do
cornhole
cornhole.
once. We've done grunt like 6 times.
We did
Yeah,
grunt a
well,
lot at
that's
the
because I'm
apartment.
really good at
I
grunt.
will give you that.
It's
Well, it's almost like,
yeah.
your family built the board. Yeah.
Storm was
Yeah,
also
anyway.
really good at it, which was upsetting.
So,
But
weirdly good.
we had a
Weirdly
roommate.
good.
One of our roommates.
Yeah.
He was just
Yeah.
and really good friend.
And
Yeah,
good
but
friends,
he
yeah.
just was super good at the game grunt.
Innately. You know what it
What?
excuse me, what it was? He
Yeah,
was
I
like a
bet
foot
that's what it
taller than
was.
us. So, well, for us, we have to like chuck it,
Well,
right? We
you
have
have to
to throw
chuck
the
it.
thing,
I
and
just
he
kind
just
of
placed it.
do the normal tactic. You cannot tell me you don't launch
Okay,
those
well,
things.
wow, I'm gonna leave the call. So anyway, what I noticed, let me get to this. What I noticed was like in the summer I'll have one or two drinks, and in the winter I'm so much more inclined to
Yeah.
like actually drink, like
Mm-hmm.
like a good amount, enough that I'm like, "Whoo, I need Connor to drive us home from wherever we are." And I don't know why. A lot of people I know that I talk to, it's the summertime that they're like, "Oh, sun's out, sun's out,
Yeah.
buns out. It's time to drink."
I'm
And in
sorry. Hang
wintertime
on.
they
Time
they
out.
do, occasionally, but
You did not just say sun's out, buns out. Did you just say that, Jasmine?
yeah,
Jasmine, it's not
you never
buns.
heard that? I know it's guns, but it's also buns.
Uh,
That's a very common thing that people say.
maybe
I'm looking
y'all
it up.
down in the down
Anyway,
eastern side of Maine says buns out, but that is weird.
no,
Sun's out,
no,
guns
it's a
out. It's
thing.
so buns out. Come on.
It's a thing on Insta. It's a thing on Instagram. Like, wearing. It's a thing on Instagram. Suns out, buns out. I'm looking. There's a ton of
That's what I'm
pictures. I mean, it's all
saying.
butts, but it's a ton of
Sun's out, guns out. It's weird to buns out.
Yeah, but I'm not suns out, guns out. I'm wearing a full
You
t-shirt.
sun's out, buns out.
No guns today. Well, not really either. I'm a little self-conscious. Thanks for bringing it up. So let's talk about mental health and Justin
my
absolutely
word.
obliterating my ego here.
I do understand.
Anyway.
Though. I get it. Like,
So,
because
no.
I think part of it is that
Like-
your winter time for you is a harder time. It's a harder time for you to get through. Like you're not getting that serotonin, but you do get it when you drink
I go
or
into
dopamine or whatever.
It's not even that I'm getting, like, I'm not happy when I drink that much. A lot of it is my brain telling me you need to stop.
That sounds bad. That
Oof.
sounds a little bad.
Well,
yeah,
it is, though, is the thing. Like, candidly, it is. I mean, I'm not like worried about my drinking habits. I have like maybe one drink a month, but in the winter I'm much more inclined to order a drink. And I don't know. It's like it's not like a comfort thing because I'm still ordering, a strawberry margarita. Like
right.
it's still a cold drink, but it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things I noticed. Like recently, we went out for a holiday staff party, and I was so much more inclined to drink alcohol at this one, and I didn't go because I knew you guys were coming the next morning, and I wanted to be like a person who wasn't like,
Right.
please don't talk to me, whatever. But like I wanted to go out with my coworkers. I don't ever go to the bars with my coworkers. I go out to eat and I have a drink, but I was going to like go out and have Connor come pick me up from Portland. And I'm glad that I made the choice not to, and I just went home. Not that I didn't miss all my coworkers. Y'all are lovely people. But it was just, I don't know. It's one of those things that I do in winter that just, it's something I notice with my mental health is it tends to be what I go for.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like logically it does make sense that, you usually, when people drink, you're usually having a good time with the people that are around you. So those people that are around you are giving you that extra boost that you're looking for. So you make that correlation of I need a drink to have fun because the time that I drink, I have fun with the people. So it makes sense. And you're looking especially in wintertime, you're looking for that. Right.
For that social connection piece.
I will say if
sure.
you are not just you, but anybody, if you are drinking a lot and you need that extra support, definitely look up some health. I'm blanking. Help me. Um, nope.
Healthcare,
Well, you could, I
AA
guess.
groups,
Like you could go to that. There you
reach
go.
out to a
Health
mental health
professional. My
professional.
brain was not there for a
Yeah.
second.
So I will say too, I know a lot of people, this is for the viewers, not for you. But also good for you to consider maybe. A lot of people fall off their therapy stuff in the winter. Hi, it's me. Um, this is the time of year that it's really important to have a person that isn't in
Yeah.
your group to talk to. Um, and I'm not going to go on a whole spiel. I mean, I can go on a whole spiel in a later episode, but I'm not right now going to go on a whole spiel. But therapy or talking to someone who is a counselor of some sort or a mental health professional is bigger than just I want to help myself. It's also a way to kind of release some of that
Hmm.
pressure on yourself. The last few years have been hard for everybody, right? Like COVID took a lot. Not even just killing
Yeah.
people because that was horrific. We lost a lot of people to that, but it
Hmm.
mentally took a lot from people. And as we're kind of coming back into this normalcy and kind of coming back into this, like, what does life look like now?
Yeah.
Which it will never be the same again. It will always be different. And a lot of people started therapy in COVID. And since it's like kind of over now, I've stopped. I mean, like a lot of people I know stopped recently because they're like, oh, well, COVID's over. I don't need it anymore. And like,
Yeah.
this is the time to keep going because when the bad thing stops you're going to start having these emotions and these things come up that are going to be
Hmm.
triggers of what have happened. I watched, this is so stupid, I watched the is it the latest season
Yeah.
of Grey's
That's
Anatomy,
not
the
the
COVID
latest, but yeah.
season of Grey's Anatomy. I That's not the latest, no it's not, the latest is wild too, um but I watched the COVID season. I Justin knows I just got into this, so I just caught up. But I had to pause a lot during that because it just triggered a lot of
Hmm.
really scary emotions. And I didn't really have like a way to cope with that. And that's a stupid
I
example
was gonna
because it's
say
a
it's
TV show, but it's a
realistic and
real
it's something
example
that
that people
people
deal with.
have.
Right. And I watched a lot of people on my Facebook lose family members. And a lot of people all over the world lose people that they loved to COVID, which is a whole other thing. And it was like then when I was like, man, it'd be really nice to have like a counselor to talk to say like, this is what I experienced.
Gross.
Sorry, I just spit all over myself. This is what I experienced. And like, what are the coping strategies I can use? Because it's all well and good to be able to recognize in your own brain that you are having depressive thoughts or anxious thoughts or obsessive thoughts or whatever. But it's how you cope and deal with
Hmm.
that that makes it or breaks it. And that's this is obviously what I do for a living, but but it's like your coping strategies, right? So if you're just saying, "Yeah, I got depression," and you're doing nothing about it, you are
Yeah.
actively harming yourself. If you say I've had anxiety and you're just like, "But it is what it," like you're not doing anything. And that can even be something simple like you're choosing to go a safer route home than to go a route you know might have more twists and turns, like to make it
Hmm.
less anxious or whatever you're anxious about. That's one of mine. Um but like it's what you do with it. And so people who have like quit therapy right when, COVID ended because it's like, oh, it's all over, I'm good now. You're actively
Right.
harming that progress you've made. And this is I'm a high advocate for people doing therapy. Even if you think your life is really good, therapy is very helpful to uncover like small things. Therapy can help with that. So I figured the mental health episode was my way of telling you, Justin, it's time to get a therapist, the both of
No,
us.
we're not.
Let's
We're
get one
not getting one
together.
together.
Best friend therapy.
Sorry, but no. Um, yeah, I agree. I think I
Okay.
I I do
Um,
agree, and I'd be a little bit hypocritical if I said yes, absolutely do that. You should like. I think you should. Like my personal belief and my educational background says you should, and it's a beneficial thing. Um, and it's not always about the big things. So I would highly suggest it. So I just wanted to close out with just reminding you guys that any hotlines that we have are going to be down in the bottom. If you are, or down in the description, if you are somebody who struggles with mental health, whether it's in the middle of winter or not, those hotlines are always available. And I highly suggest reaching out to them, because they have trained people to help you. You can reach out to
Mhm.
us, and our socials are around. Mine
Absolutely.
is TSK1239 on Instagram and on TikTok, and then the Soccer King 1239 on, I can't remember what else it is, but on YouTube. You can reach
YouTube.
out to us, and we will definitely where we'll be listening ears. But reminder that we're not health professionals. We're not somebody who has all the answers, and we're not somebody who is trained
Hmm.
or certified to help people. We will be listening ears, and that's what we can be.
Hmm.
Where can they reach out to you?
Asminsta, ASMINSTAH 1721 on Instagram, and then just Asminsta on TikTok. My DMs are always open for stuff like this. I love talking about mental health. It's a passion of mine. Um, and like I said, I'm not a mental health professional, but uh, I got a good checklist of diagnoses, so I'm good to I can talk to you. And I
Yeah,
mean,
reach out
reach
to your
out to your
people.
friends, reach out to your family. Don't reach out to your
Hmm.
people. Reach out to people you've never reached out to before.
You
You
never
never know
know.
who will respond. Reach out to Zach
I don't know.
Efron. Why do we keep going to him?
Got a
I
little
don't.
thing with
We've
that with
last
Zach.
few
We got to get him in
episodes
here.
we've just been like on an Efron thing. I
All right.
mean,
Well, we're gonna
look, if
go
anyone's gonna help
and
our mental
well,
health,
hey. Speak for yourself.
whoa,
Speak.
what? Wait, whoa.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure that's
He's a
what you're
nice
saying.
guy. I'm sure he'd be
Anyways, we're
lovely.
gonna
That
we're
is
gonna
what
close
I
this
was
one out with
saying.
just like a thank you. Like, we do appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. We're still very small and we're still trying to grow. So if you wouldn't mind reposting us, if you feel like that's something that you want to do. If not, that's totally fine too. Keep us to yourself because we're awesome and you don't want us to get out of here. We know, we understand. We love you too.
Like, comment, share, send to your grandmama. Bring us to your
Yeah.
family dinners.
Force
Put
them
us
to
on the
listen
big
to us as
TV.
well.
You don't have to do that. Yeah, for if they're gonna force you to come to the house for Christmas dinner, you're gonna force
Facts.
them to listen to
But
No
yeah,
Impulse
so with
Control.
that, we'll see you in the
Yeah.
next
So
one.
anyway,
Peace out.
go take your meds. Go call your therapist. Goodbye.